What is up, party people? Coming at you live. It's the Touchdown Talk podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm joined by Anthony, the Oompa Loompa. What's up, Tony?
What is good, everybody? I am ready for a fucking fantastic show tonight, and I fucking can't wait. We got 9 more days. 9 more days until the football season.
Holy crap, dude. I can't wait. Oh my goodness. Got fantasy drafts going on. We just had today, we had all of the 53-man rosters have been announced by all the teams. They had to make their cuts today. So some people sad to see go. Tommy DeVito, he's gone.
Woohoo! Oh, you should be jumping in your boots right now, dude.
Well, I like Tommy DeVito and the whole personality, the whole Italian thing. I can get behind that. But it's good that we have enough people ahead of him where we can cut him, because he's honestly not. Obviously, he's not the future. So it is good. But he's a fan favorite, man. He's freaking Tommy Cutlets. You got to love him.
I will not love him because his play was absolutely awful.
Well, he balled out in his last preseason game, so I think he's going to get picked up by somebody at some point, because them injuries are going to come, and you want to make sure you have somebody out there to back up your guy. Spencer Rattler was named the starter for New Orleans.
Yes, he was. And that was the last team to announce their starter. So now we have all 32 starting quarterbacks.
Yep. Finally, we actually know what we got going into the season for all these teams. Some the future looks better for some people than others, but we'll get into that. So this episode, we're going to run through some of the updates that have been happening around the league real quick, and then we're going to get into our predictions for the NFL awards for the 2025 season. Me and Tony both have our predictions. Evan's not here. Did Evan send you his predictions?
He did, yeah. So we can he didn't explain to me. Yeah, he told me the list. He just didn't tell me why he picked those guys, so we can just guess as to why he picked them,
Yeah, at least this is a way for us to hold him accountable. Be like, you did pick this guy. We'll let him explain it when he's back next week. But we can at least, put it out there so we know who he's picking as well. But real quick, we got a couple stories that we want to talk about. Literally last episode, we talked about potential landing spots for Trey Hendrickson, the sack leader from last year, plays for the Cincinnati Bengals, probably their only good defensive player. He had requested a trade and had these ongoing contract negotiations, and we had been talking about potential landing spots for him. And then literally yesterday, he got signed. He got re-signed. They restructured his deal and gave him a $14 million raise. So, Tony, what does this mean for the Bengals, and what does it mean for Trey Hendrickson? Is it more than just the money? Is his future, what's his future with the Bengals, you think?
Yeah. So we had the Trey Hendrickson deal that was done, and then we had the Terry McLaurin deal. Those were the two big deals this week, I would say. The Trey Hendrickson signing out of those two is the one that surprised me. And just from the way that negotiations were going between the Bengals and Trey Hendrickson and Terry and the Commanders, it just seemed like a deal with Trey Hendrickson was never going to get done. So I totally did not expect them to finally dish out and pay him the money. And that was surprising to me that they finally gave in. It's a little weird also that it's only a 1-year extension. So this doesn't even lock up your most important piece in the defense for the future. And I don't know. Honestly, I don't know much about Hendrickson's future. I don't know how old he is. I want to say
He's
he's
30.
still okay. So you know what? I'll give him the credit. A 1 year deal kind of makes sense because you don't really want to give a guy like that a 3 to 5 year deal because you don't really know when he's going to start declining.
Mm.
And which usually for that position it is around the age of 30. So, but like props to them. I mean, you got your best defensive player. You finally paid him. Who knows how? I can't even imagine how much worse that defense would be without him. So, I mean, I guess he kind of gives you somewhat of a fighting chance. But this is the thing that surprised me about the Hendrickson signing. So you have the Commanders. Let's look at the Commanders, for example. They finally gave in and paid McLaurin, and they finally paid one of your top players, one of the pieces that arguably makes that Jaden Daniels offense run. Now, if you look at the old Commanders, the old organization, they would not have paid Terry McLaurin. They wouldn't have paid him. They would have told him, go away, we're not going to pay you this money. Because that was just the kind of organization that the Commanders were. And I feel like this contract extension for McLaurin shows how evolved the Commanders have become in the past 2 years, like as an organization, as compared to the Bengals, which we know the Bengals are still pretty awful. I mean, which is why that the Hendrickson signing surprised me. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Like,
Yeah, and you're talking about the front office people, the higher ups. I mean, we talk about Washington, in particular, Dan Snyder, the owner, when he sold the team, like he was known for being like a toxic. I mean, there's a lot there that we could talk about with like, I think it's even like the way they treated the cheerleaders and like stuff like that. There's more like devious stuff that he did, but like even when it just comes to football, like yeah, like you're saying, in this game in the NFL, you kind of have to evolve or you die. If you don't change along with the game, then you're going to get left in the dust. So I think this is a sign that the Commanders are changing, like you're saying. And I think part of it comes with new ownership and new leadership. We this is such a tangent, but one of the awards we're going to talk about today is Coach of the Year. And wait, who's the coach for the damn Commanders?
Dan Quinn.
Is it Dan Quinn? Because there was some. Okay, never mind. All right, never mind. Just forget I even said anything. Because I thought there was a name. There was a name on the list of Coach of the Year candidates. It says all the coaches, and a name that I completely didn't recognize. But I was like, oh, maybe that's the Commanders coach. But obviously, it's Dan Quinn. But whatever. There's so much coaching turnover that and we talked about this last week with the Giants and how their situation could end up changing this year. You just have to hope that the guy who gets the torch after you, has the same vision and has a mindset of, I want to keep these guys that were here before me, even though I didn't bring them in, still find a way to work them into this system and this like picture that we're building for a team. And exactly like you're saying, like the Commanders administration now, Dan Quinn, and I don't know the GM there, but clearly they have their heads screwed on right, because you'd be stupid to not sign Terry McLaurin after everything that he's given to your organization, playing with terrible quarterbacks for years. You want to get a deal done with that guy. And I think just real quick, the ownership thing, I think is a big thing when it comes to that, because the Bengals owner has not changed for however long. I'm not exactly sure, but as far as I know,
correct.
There hasn't been a recent change when it comes to like the higher ups in that franchise.
Nope,
so
nothing.
It's the same people that have been doing this same thing with the Bengals players for a long time, they're still doing the same thing. And eventually it's going to bite them in the ass. Because like I said, if you don't evolve along with this game, then you're screwed.
I mean, it already has. Just look at their team.
Yeah.
I mean, you struck gold on Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, and that's about it.
And you're wasting them. You're
Yep.
wasting them.
Which is such a pain. Like, I can't even tell you the frustration that is as a football fan, just watching those two players on that team. It's just so frustrating because if he was on the majority of AFC teams, maybe besides, like the other shitty ones, like the Browns, I just feel like I feel like they would be so much better, such better off. Like,
100%.
for their careers, legacy wise,
Yeah, they honestly got put into a bad situation. And I think we should pivot to these awards, because some of the players that we're talking about might be mentioned in these awards. So before I talk about any of my guys, why don't you start us off? You want to start with MVP, the most important one, or maybe we should save that for last?
I was gonna ask you the same thing. What do you wanna start off with the bottom or?
Let's save MVP for last. And we were just talking about Coach of the Year, so why don't we talk about Coach of the Year? Because I know that you have someone that you want to talk about. So I'll let you take the floor first and talk about your prediction for Coach of the Year.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's out there listening right now, I got a couple of these on the awards. I'm not 100% positive will go the way I'm predicting, but for the Coach of the Year, I am very, very positive that it will be Mike Vrabel. And I am not just saying that because I'm a Patriots fan. I just think everything we've talked about in this show it's going to come together. You're going to see the Patriots have success. They're going to be a 10 to 11, 11 win team this year. And I think that is just going to propel Vrabel's popularity throughout the league. And I think he's surefire man to win it. And I believe the odds in Las Vegas are agreeing with me, because I believe he is the highest odds, if I'm not wrong, to win it right now.
So I was just about to bring that up. It depends where you look. I'm on a website called Vegas Insider, so sounds like it's pretty reputable. It has like odds for other awards. It says odds from different sites that you can bet on, but the person with the highest odds right now is Ben Johnson with the Bears. Mike Vrabel has the second best odds, and then Liam Cohen, Kellen Moore those are the top four, and those are all first-year head coaches. So it definitely seems like the way that it's going to lean is a new coach inheriting a bad team, and then if they turn that team around, then they have a pretty good chance at winning Coach of the Year. And I think Vrabel has a huge opportunity to do that with the Patriots. So I think that's a great pick. Obviously, he has great odds to win it. I didn't want, like, a lot of these predictions, I avoided the number one guy. Ben Johnson feels like a very similar situation to Vrabel, where he's inheriting a team with, that did really bad last year, but it has some good pieces. And then he brought in other pieces to fit into his system. And that's pretty much exactly what Vrabel's doing too. Vrabel's doing it on the defensive side of the ball, but getting Travion Henderson is huge. Hopefully Kyle Williams pans out for them. And I think the future looks really bright in New England. So I think that he has a good shot. My prediction, I am going a little bit further down on the list of probability. This guy is, just according to this one site, is the sixth most likely. I'm going with Sean Payton. I think
that's a respectable pick.
So obviously he's been in a league for a long time with the Saints. I don't know if he ever won Coach of the Year with the Saints. Probably should have looked that up, but um, I think last year he took a team that was not great, or even before that, he was the coach a year before that as well, had a bad team. This year he gets his quarterback. He finally makes all the changes he wants to make and implements his system, and it works. And things are clicking. There's some pieces that are like, some growing pains, right? And they get blown out in the playoffs. No one expected them to be like Super Bowl right away. But my prediction is that this year he builds on that good season that they had last year and does even better this year. I think the Broncos finish 11 to 12 wins. And I think the most important piece for the Broncos when it comes to Sean Payton winning Coach of the Year is competing with Kansas City for the number 1 seed in the AFC West. And I think that they go into week 17 of the season tied with the Kansas City Chiefs for the lead in the division. And guess who they play on Christmas Day in week 17 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Prime time. I think they have an absolute nail biter, barn burner, insane primetime Christmas game with the Chiefs. And I think they beat the Chiefs on Christmas Day. And I think that is the biggest item on Sean Payton's resume when it comes to winning Coach of the Year. So that's why I think it's Sean Payton.
Dude, I'm not going to get too into it because we're going to talk a lot about records and all of that next week. But I love that take from you. I have the Broncos right as of right now finishing first or second or third in the whole AFC. And like I said, I'll get into that more next week. But I love the culture. I love everything that Sean Payton has done. I am a huge Bo Nix guy this year. I don't think he's gonna have a sophomore slump. I think he's gonna go out there and kill it. And to end that, one important thing you gotta remember is that they should have beat the Chiefs this year. Mm-hmm. If you remember that game, they lost because of a blocked field goal. Mm-hmm. So this is a team that was not way behind the Chiefs in terms of roster talent. Like they are maybe at the same level right now.
Yep.
And I like you said, I think that translates well for Sean Payton, and he has a very valid shot to win it.
100%. They were a blocked kick away last year from beating the Chiefs. And then the other time they played the Chiefs was the last week of the season. The Chiefs rested all their starters and the Broncos completely blew them out. But, that's the second stringers. So sure, they beat the Chiefs, but that doesn't count in my book because the Chiefs have owned the Broncos for pretty much Patrick Mahomes' whole career. He was undefeated against them for a while. So I think taking them down is huge for the Broncos as a team and definitely for Sean Payton as a coach. So yeah, I 100% believe that Mike Vrabel has a great shot at getting it too. Obviously Vegas, people in Vegas get paid a lot of money and do a lot of research into setting the odds, like where they are at. So honestly, like when I look at Vegas, I'm like, it's probably pretty likely that the guy who's favored the most is going to, is the most likely person to achieve it. So Vrabel having that high odds, to me, it does genuinely speak to how realistic it is for him to win the award. Let's go ahead and move on, and we can talk about.
Do we want to mention Evans real quick?
Oh yeah, of course, yes.
So for those that don't know, Evan unfortunately couldn't be with us tonight, so he sent me his pick, and his pick I like it. It's unexpected, more unexpected than yours.
Mm-hmm.
His coach of the year prediction is Jim Harbaugh.
Okay. Chargers. Right? That's Jim. That's not John, right?
Um,
That's surprising. Jim Harbaugh. Really? He has the 5th best odds.
Jim Harbaugh is the Chargers coach. Yes, I get the two mixed up as well.
Yeah, literally. No, John
But
probably won't win it because they've been good for a long time.
Yeah. No.
But I think Jim Harbaugh has a good chance too.
Oh yeah.
Once again, that's a team that has been like not necessarily meeting expectations for a long time and falling short when it comes to playoffs and, just overall performance. So if he can get them over that hump, I think that's huge for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think a big thing is probably their receivers and then just staying healthy in general.
Receivers, yeah, because I mean, you got Ladd, but Ladd is more of like a slot kind of guy. So, and you got Johnston dropping balls out there. That's not gonna.
Yeah,
that's not
and then
gonna
I think
be
he's
enough
hurt
for
you. Is he injured?
Oh yeah, and he's hurt. Yeah,
he got concussed or something, so he might miss the start of the season, but I'm sure he'll probably come back at some point.
Yeah.
And then you got KLS. Who's the damn guy? KLS. We'll just call
Keandre Lambert Smith. Yeah, he's a promising rookie in preseason, but like we've been saying, preseason we don't know.
Right. And Trey Harris is another one, right?
Trey Harris,
a rookie receiver they got. But yeah, it's like you don't want to put too much stock into rookies and feel like you have to bet everything on them.
And especially the same thing with that running back too.
Omarion Hampton, yeah.
They're
building a very young team over there. So I feel like that might be even like a maybe 2026 might be when they finally cross that threshold, but who knows? Good pick. I like that pick, Evan. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Let's move on to comeback player of the year. And I'll let you go ahead and start this one off too.
All right. I don't know. I don't think this is the number one most obvious one. But I have for my comeback player of the year, Christian McCaffrey. I just think that, I mean, if you look at his stats in his whole career, whenever he's been healthy, he's been like the top 3 player of the year in the league. So if he just has a healthy season, I think he's a shoo-in to get comeback player of the year. Personally, even over some other big names, just because of how big and how dominant Christian McCaffrey is and how explosive he is as a runner.
I think a lot of it will come down to if he can stay healthy.
Right?
Because he is now, I think. But if he, as long as he can maintain for a whole season, and maybe the addition of Brian Robinson can kind of help him out in that way where it takes some of the load off. I think that's a great pick. Christian McCaffrey currently has the 3rd best odds to win it. I am going to pick the guy with the 2nd best odds, and that is Aiden Hutchinson. We will get to my defensive player of the year pick later. Aiden Hutchinson actually has currently the best odds to win defensive player of the year and the 2nd best odds to win comeback player of the year. I don't think that he's going to necessarily come back and immediately be defensive player of the year level again. I think he will be good when he comes back, but I don't think he's going to jump all the way up to that level, especially with my pick for defensive player of the year. I think that other guy is going to definitely outshine Aiden Hutchinson, but I think Hutch has had a good amount of time to recover too. It was early in the season last year that his injury happened. There was even talk of him being back for the Super Bowl. If they had made it to the Super Bowl, it was like he
Yep.
would have been back.
Mhm.
So you would like to think that if he was going to be back then, imagine now he's had, what is it, 4 or 5 months in the off season to prepare. So
Yep.
I think he is poised for a really, really great season. What did Evan have for comeback player of the year?
For comeback player of the year, Evan has. Oh man, he has Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he probably has a lot of the same reasons as me. But we can talk about, since obviously we just talked about Hutch, the guy currently with the best odds, and this does depend where you're at. Like according to this right here, I think that's MGM Sportsbook. Hutchinson has the best odds, and then DraftKings Dak Prescott has the best odds, or they have the same odds. So Dak Prescott is either 1 or 2, depending on what site you're on. But Dak Prescott is a pretty good pick too. Having one of the best wide receivers in the whole league in CeeDee Lamb to throw to definitely helps out. And
yeah,
when it comes to, like, honestly, and maybe, this is a side note, we've talked about this, but in fantasy, I have the CeeDee Lamb Dak Prescott stack. And obviously, I'm a Giants fan, so I'm not super thrilled about that. I did what I had to do. But maybe part of me is kind of wanting to root for Dak Prescott this season. And maybe that's why I say, like, what, and I speak from firsthand experience because Dak Prescott dookied on the Giants multiple times in prime time, usually. Like, the Cowboys would totally stomp out the Giants, and it was always Dak Prescott with these crazy throws at the end of the game, like on the sideline and stuff. Like, he, as much as he flounders in the playoffs in particular, which thank God, he is a good regular season quarterback. So I think he has a chance to definitely put up good enough numbers to earn an award like this, comeback player of the year. Comeback player of the year doesn't necessarily mean that you have had the best season ever for a quarterback. It just means that you had a decent season and you were hurt before. So he doesn't even necessarily need to completely ball out. He just has to be decent. But I still think Hutch probably has a better chance to perform defensively compared to Dak performing offensively.
Yep, you said it perfectly. And that is why I think Hutchinson is number 1 right now in that poll, because I believe there's a better chance that he comes back and is just insanely dominant and wins it. But I will say, like, going over this list, this is a very close comeback player of the year race. I mean, like, really, like, everybody we talked about, like, they all have a very good shot of winning it. So,
yeah,
I mean, we'll see how that plays out, I guess.
On ESPN Bet, which, say what you will about ESPN Bet, but on ESPN Bet, the 3 guys that we have talked about all have plus 300 odds to win it. They have the same exact odds. So it's really a toss-up. Like you're saying, it's very close when it comes to these guys. Some other names that are on this list: Daniel Jones. Watch out.
I don't know about that one, buddy.
JJ McCarthy
I don't know about
is on this list.
What? I don't see how that's comeback player of the year. He hasn't played yet. I mean, I get he was hurt, but he hasn't played.
I mean, like, technically, like, I'm not seeing a description of the award, but I know they changed it because Geno Smith won it after he never got hurt, but he was just bad and then got better. And then I think they changed the wording of the award to say that it has to be someone who was injured. So imagine JJ McCarthy wins it, and now they have to change it again to say someone who played, then got injured, then played again, because like you said, he's not coming back. He's just coming.
Yeah,
Pause.
I hope he does not fucking win it, because if he wins that, that's like, what the fuck is that award?
Yeah, exactly. It feels like this is the weirdest award out of all of them. We should totally move on, but yeah, that'd be pretty strange if JJ won that. Let's go ahead and we'll talk about a new award, which maybe we should have started with this one, but we would talk about Protector of the Year. I'll give mine first, and I don't have much to say because honestly, I don't know how to analyze offensive line play. I just go off of who does
What the
Madden tell
experts
me.
say.
Right. What do the experts say? What does Madden tell me? What does PFF tell me? Whatever. So I picked Penei Sewell. I think just like, I don't know. I can't get into the nitty gritty of his pass, his kick out, or his like. I don't know the technical stuff, but I think part of it is like he's a fan favorite in Detroit, and I think honestly like that might be an aspect of it that plays into it. Is just like, okay, yeah, people do know his name. There are other people that have a chance of winning it. It's just like the names that you know. And honestly, an offense that's going to be really good. So particularly the Lions with their running ability, I know it says Protector of the Year, but I think it's just offensive lineman in general. But I think just the product that they put on the field, the Lions, is just crazy. And it's clear to see that their offensive line is studded out. And Penei Sewell is the best on that offensive line. So he's got a good shot to win. I think he is the favorite right now. What you got?
Hey, he is the best offensive lineman in the league, and that is good enough reason for him to win it year in and year out. He does, honestly, almost everything really fucking great. So, run block, pass block, insane strength, huge fucking guy. He's just everything you want in a lineman. So, props to him. I went with Lane Johnson because I did not want to pick Penei Sewell. I like you said earlier, I just didn't want to. I wanted to mix it up between all of them. I just didn't want to pick all obvious ones. But Lane Johnson is also up there. He is considered one of the best offensive linemen in the league. Not as dominant as Penei Sewell, I would say, but he is on the Eagles, which we know that offensive line is loaded. Coming off a Super Bowl win, and still loaded, that offensive line, and that offense is still going to be very good, especially in the run game. So I think Lane Johnson, he is kind of a safe pick, but he's not the like, oh my god, he's absolutely going to win it.
Yeah, the other name I had was Jordan Mailata.
Yeah,
I Eagles tackle.
That's another great name, and it's so close between them. I just think Lane Johnson is a little better.
Yeah, and he's been there longer too, so he's got more experience. But again, the Eagles, like you said, same concept with the Lions, just being a team that puts a good product on the field as a whole unit of offensive linemen. And then if you're the best out of that unit, then you have a great shot. So that's a little quick one. You know, I mean, what do we know? I don't know nothing about offensive line, but let's go ahead and move on to both.
We got Evans real quick.
Oh yeah. Did we talk about Evans? Oh, we did his comeback player of the year too, right?
Yeah, he had the same one as you. Oh,
right.
We don't need to talk too much about this. Evan has Jordan Mailata as
okay. Then yeah, right.
Which we just talked about. Okay. So
yeah,
that's another good pick, Evan.
Yeah. So we're pretty synced up when it comes to that one. So let's go ahead and move on to the rookie of the year, defensive and offensive rookies of the year. Let's start with offense, and I want to hear what you got.
All right. This is definitely the Mike Vrabel coach of the year was definitely not biased. This probably is. But for my offensive rookie of the year, I got Travion Henderson, baby. Let's fucking go. Oh, just amazing. Everything I've seen out of the kid, amazing. And Mike Vrabel is a run first coach, and they are going to run the ball down people's throats with that newly buffed offensive line. And he looks so explosive and fast, man. And he reminds me so much of Jahmyr Gibbs. And it's actually kind of crazy how similar those two are. But I just think that is going to translate very well for him this year. Now, I don't know is he really going to win it over, say, Cam Ward or Gency. That's the biggest question mark. I don't know. But I think I'm going to go out on the limb and just say, fuck yes, he is.
Yeah, he's got some tough competition for sure. I think that's a great comparison, comparing him to Jahmyr Gibbs because of the speed. And just if they get him on the outside, dude, they're done. It's curtains for the defense. I think the thing that Travion probably has that might be like a barrier to him winning it is Josh McDaniels really likes to use multiple running backs. So I think Ramondre is going to get a decent workload with Travion mixed in. I think Travion will probably be the starter, I feel like. But Ramondre is probably going to get some work.
I don't want Ramondre starting. I don't want to get too off topic, but I don't want Ramondre starting.
Maybe he starts fumbling, and then it'll just be the Travion Henderson show, which I would love to see.
So.
I mean, dude,
I fucking hope so.
He's fun to watch. He really is. You mentioned both of who I was considering picking. Ashton Genty has the number 1 odds, but I did decide to go with Cam Ward because I think maybe it's the preseason overreaction thing, but like Genty is a bruiser. He's going to freaking probably on the goal line, I think he's going to be a beast, but I don't know if he necessarily has the speed like Travion does to break away long runs. Not that you need long runs to really make a good case to win Rookie of the Year, but I think like he's going to be a good goal line back, and I don't know how often they're going to get to the goal line for him to really feast. So I don't know if I like Genty so much as I like Cam Ward, because Cam Ward, and maybe I'm just kind of, playing devil's advocate, but Cam Ward, I feel like he doesn't need to do much. He doesn't need to do as much, because I don't think he's going to hit Jaden Daniels numbers. I don't think he's going to hit CJ Stroud numbers.
No.
But I think he's probably going to perform well, and I think he'll exceed expectations. And he really has no help. Like he has Calvin
Ridley on the deep throws. That's
and
about
I think
it.
that's going to be a good connection, because they've already shown that they have some chemistry in that first preseason game. So I think when they see it in real gameplay, it's going to be a safety blanket for him, just knowing that he has that connection with him. So I think those two will click, and I think that's going to be a big thing for the Titans. And I just hope that we see it enough to get Cam Ward over that hump. But yeah, there's a lot of competition in this rookie class. Like I said, Ashton Genty has the number 1 odds, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone like Travion got it, or if Omarion Hampton snatched it up. I feel like it's probably not going to be
up there.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the running backs or Cam Ward. But I'm going to put my money on Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Hey, on the defensive side of the ball.
Oh,
you guys.
Yep. Oh no, I was just gonna say Evans.
I always forget, bro.
No, it's all good. He might have picked the same one. Offensive rookie of the year. Evan picked Cam Ward.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
It's all right. I mean, I'm gonna try to like talk about some of the top candidates, even if it's not the guy I picked. We can still talk about other people. Just that way, we're getting some representation. You know what I'm talking about? But let's move to the defensive side of the ball, and I'm gonna give my pick, and it's Abdul Carter, baby, New York. Let's go. I think, dude, I don't care about no chip block from the New York Jets. I don't care. I don't care. It's the preseason. It doesn't matter. In this instance, I'm going to choose to ignore it. Even though other shit I will totally buy into. This time, no. It's negative, so I don't want to listen to it. So, I really think that Abdul Carter, not only was he drafted super highly because he's incredibly physical and incredibly athletic, but he comes into a situation where, and we talked about this during the draft, that initially I didn't like it because it's like we already have a couple insane pass rushers and the best defensive tackle in the league, which I didn't like so much at first. I figured we should boost up some other parts of our defense. But in this case, I think it gives him an incredible opportunity to feast because you have Brian Burns on the other side, or you have Kayvon Thibodeau on the other side, or you have Dexter Lawrence in the middle, or all four of them on the field at once is going to be insane if and when that happens. I don't know if there's too many packages like that. But he just has a lot of help around him that I think it's going to give him a really good chance to showcase his abilities without necessarily being double teamed or anything like that. So I really think that it's not going to be long before he becomes the best pass rusher on this team. Because Dexter Lawrence, he's a phenomenal run stopper, the best in the league. And he can get sacks, but it's really hard to get sacks from the inside. I'm not expecting Dexter Lawrence to end the season with, freaking TJ Watt level of sacks. I'm expecting him to have a few and then let the guys on the outside eat, which is Abdul Carter. So that's my pick.
If Abdul Carter works out for you guys, that is the best defensive line in the fucking league, and I don't even think it's close.
Let's go.
So I hope, for my sake, that he is not good, but chances are I'm wrong. Chances are he is going to be fucking dominant because he was the second best player in that draft and the obvious pick at number 2, which is why I thought that if the Giants were smart, they should have taken him. And they did. So I obviously that's a very good pick. He is probably the favorite to win that, most definitely.
Yeah, he is.
So yeah, that line is just scary. It's gonna be scary. So hopefully he stays healthy for you guys and is as good as he was in college. But for my defensive rookie of the year pick, I wanted to go with somebody different. So I chose Jihad Campbell, another defensive player, arguably one of the best defensive players in the draft that fell all the way down to the Eagles yet again for like the third or fourth year in a row now. Yeah,
they can't keep getting away with this.
It's just insane. It's fucking insane, dude. Like, I'm not gonna go into it, but I mean, good on them. Jihad Campbell, he's just a fucking beast in college, and he's going to a defense that is already loaded. And what's his face just fucking had last year as a rookie? Cooper. Wait, is his name Cooper? Cooper DeJean. Yeah. I just think that Jihad he could easily win it. And if things pan out for him, which it has panned out for all of the fucking defensive rookies that have went there, over the last 5 years now. So, yeah.
I think it is kind of similar to like what I was talking about with Abdul Carter, is just having help as well is
Hmm.
huge. Like, not, if having guys in the secondary, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this in a little bit, but having guys in the secondary that you can rely on is huge when you're a pass rusher, because it gives you a little bit more time to get to the quarterback, and vice versa. Having good pass rushers is going to make your job as a corner easier because you don't have to cover as long. So it's complementary football. So going into a situation like the Eagles, Doug, you already have some of the best defensive players in the whole league in that secondary. And then you still have Jalen Carter. You still have, what the hell, Zach Bond from last year. And you have, who else on the D line? Who's their D? Is Sweat there? Is it Josh Sweat? But they lost him, didn't they? Either way, I think they lost Josh Sweat. But my point is,
Yes, they did.
yeah, he
Or
went to.
they have Josh Uche now.
Oh yeah, we talked about this last episode.
Yeah.
So
But they lost
maybe
Sweat,
Josh
and
Uche.
Sweat and Milton Williams. Those were
Yeah.
definitely the two biggest ones that they lost. Everybody else is still there though,
Yeah, I
which
mean,
is
definitely
pretty damn good for coming off a Super Bowl.
100%. Being able to keep a lot of those guys is massive for them.
And
I
they're
think,
still so young too.
yeah,
That
with
whole
those two
defensive
rookie
unit.
corners
Hmm.
being the studs that they are, it's going to be so helpful for Jihad Campbell. So that's a good pick. That's a great pick. I don't know what his odds are. I don't think he was really in the top. I think what's Evans? See, I remember this.
Evans had this. I checked earlier this time too. Evans had the same one as you. He has Abdul Carter.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think Carter's odds are, I can look it up, but I want to say he's like plus 200.
I was gonna
And
say
then,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah, so Carter's plus 200, 225, 250, depending on where you're at. And then the second best is Travis Hunter at plus 1,000. So Carter is far and away the favorite. Jihad Campbell is the fifth most likely, or has the fifth best odds. Jalon Walker for the Falcons and Mike Green for the Ravens have some of the best odds as well. Mike Green's another guy who's in a very similar situation with the Ravens, where they already have one of the best defenses and their secondary got better over the offseason. So he's got a good chance to do some work down on that D line as well. So I think he's another one to look out for, although I don't think he's going to win it. All right. Since we're already talking about defense, let's move on to Defensive Player of the Year. No longer just rookies, Defensive Player of the Year as a whole. Who you got?
Ooh, I have the person that I feel like everybody is sleeping on, but he is so fucking good. I have Jared Verse as my Defensive Player of the Year. He is just so fucking nasty last year. And I believe he won defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so
I think he had 9 sacks.
Yeah. He was just insane. And another insane pickup for a team that has hit on most of their picks within the last 5 years or so. And he was a later round guy too from Florida State. So, but he's just so good, and I just feel like it's not like a TJ Watt kind of like, or Micah Parsons kind of year. You know what I mean? Like those guys are still gonna be great and all, especially if Micah gets to a different team. But I don't know. I just something in me is telling me that it's just gonna go the verse this year because he hasn't. They already gave it to those other guys, you know.
Yeah, I think it's time for a young guy to step up. Personally, I will say I think that is your worst pick so far. That's just my thought. Jared Verse, I think he's good. I don't think that he's, like you said, TJ Watt. He's TJ Watt, shares the record with Michael Strahan for having the most sacks in a season with 22 and a half. And then 2 years ago he had 19. So like, and the
Yeah,
year
but
that
is
TJ Watt
TJ
had
Watt gonna have another season like that though? I don't
well,
know.
no, not necessarily, but the year TJ Watt had 19, he didn't even win Defensive Player of the Year. Myles Garrett did. And I think he had
Yeah,
a couple less
that was
sacks. That was a
bullshit.
big controversy.
Yeah.
But that's like the bar that we're at for, defensive ends when it comes to trying to win Defensive Player of the Year. I was looking at potentially another cornerback because Pat Surtain won it last year. And what was I going to say about Jared Verse? I think that it is time for a young guy to step up, like you're saying. I don't think it's going to be TJ Watt or Myles Garrett. Originally, I did have TJ Watt written down. And the more that I thought about it, I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to return to that form because he has been in the league for, I want to say, 8 or 9 years. He's starting to get a little older. I mean, we talk about Trey Hendrickson getting older and not necessarily meaning that he's going to dip in production, but Trey Hendrickson didn't win Defensive Player of the Year last year, and he had 17 and a half sacks. Jared Verse had 9 sacks. And, so how many sacks does Verse need to have to get up to that point where he can win defensive? He's not going to win if he has 9 sacks. I'll tell you that. But
oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm leading up to my pick.
Okay.
Who probably will have more than 9 sacks this year is Will Anderson Jr. Steen from the Houston Texans. And you know why, Tony? Is I was just talking about how complementary football is so important. And I think the Houston Texans are one of the best examples of playing complementary football. They released their roster today, and I went to check their defensive backs. So they have Derek Stingley Jr., who I was thinking about picking him for this award because he is that good of a cornerback that he could potentially win it himself. CJ Gardner-Johnson is a veteran pickup. Jalen Petrie, Kamari Lassiter, and then there's some other names in here that are not so notable. But that's a pretty good secondary right there. So I think having that secondary being so strong is going to give Will Anderson the ability to completely feast on the defensive line, along with Danielle Hunter being on the other side of the defensive line. Dude, it's a recipe for success. I think that Jared Verse and Will Anderson are similar because they're both young players with a lot of potential and a lot of athleticism. But I think Will Anderson is in a better situation when it comes to the defense around him. And that's why I would pick Will Anderson over Jared Verse.
See, I disagree. I think that defense last year, especially on the defensive line that the Rams built, not even just Jared Verse, but they put some other young, very good pieces around them.
And they got Braden Fisk too.
Yeah. And I just looked at Will Anderson's stats. His rookie year, he had 7 sacks, and then last year he had 11. So I just don't like the jump that you're expecting him to make. I just don't know. I guess I guess in a way we're both of our picks. We're expecting these guys to make such a massive jump, but just because they looked so good at so young as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
But that's warranting enough of us to put confidence in picking them over like the big names,
I think it just goes to show when it comes to these defensive players. I mean, Micah Parsons is another guy who has a really good chance at winning it. He's still young.
If he plays.
And that's the big question, right? Is are they going to get a deal done? And that's a whole nother can of worms that we could talk about. With Jerry Jones is like, I don't want to negotiate with an agent being present in the room. Jerry Jones doesn't want to negotiate. He wants to negotiate directly with Micah Parsons with no agent, which is kind of like unheard of in the current NFL. But I guess historically, Jerry Jones has done this with many of his players throughout history, that he's just like, I'm going to take care of my guys. And it just seems like a disconnect between Micah Parsons and what he wants, and then Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones, like, when I have seen the clips of him going on people's podcasts, or I think, who was it? He sat with Michael Irvin.
Michael Irvin's podcasts.
And he's like, there's a deal in my head. The deal's done.
Yeah.
In your head, the deal's done.
That is what he said. That is, yeah.
But not on paper. It's not about in your head. It's about, but what? Hold on. I think there's like a disconnect, because, in his head, he's like, it's almost like he's asking for so much trust from Micah Parsons to be like, it's going to happen. But Micah wants a little bit more assurance, I feel like. And that's a totally different situation. Getting a little sidetracked there, but I think that situation just steers me away from Micah Parsons. But when it comes to pass rushers, I think when it comes to guys like Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, I don't want to lump in Micah Parsons there, but I think it's a little bit of like the old guard is on its way out, and we're going to usher in a new era with some of these really young pass rushers that look really, really good.
That's what I'm thinking as well.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the way that we're going. Do you have Evan's pick for defensive player of the year?
I do. Evan has picked TJ Watt.
TJ Watt. Okay. I was started preparing to talk about TJ Watt and why he was going to win it, and he did have some injuries. I want to say, no, I'm sorry, because I was looking at the stats last night, and I believe he played a full 17 games last year. And he had 11 sacks, I think. The year before that was when he had 19 and he lost to Myles Garrett. But I think he's a man on a mission. And I think he's always going to be a presence on that Steelers defense. So I don't think it would completely shock me if he did. But like I said, I feel like it doesn't scream to me like it's going to happen the same way that it does for some of these younger players, that I feel like they're more poised to take that jump for the first time, as opposed to a guy who already did it taking that jump back to where they were.
Yes, and historically for defensive linemen, that is exactly how it goes. Like TJ Watt is his biggest thing for me as well is his age, and they're just not even close to the same person they were when they were younger. Not saying that TJ Watt can't be great. I just think that he can't be like fucking once in a decade like pass rusher like he was like 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I mean? Like those times are just over for him.
I think he will still have a handful of forced fumbles this year, because that's just his patented move to just go in and just be like, just like rip that ball out. Like he does that like nobody else that I've ever seen. It's so cool to see when he does do it, because it's always like you're on red zone watching something else, and then it's like, let's show you this play from the Steelers game, and it's like, oh shit, crazy. Everyone's going nuts. It's always unexpected, and it's just, man, it's great to see. But if he can stack up a couple of those in this season during like big moments in games, I could see that being like a big strong point for him and a chance for him to win it.
And real quick, just to end this off real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to say that usually the NFL does not give these awards to people like a bunch of different times. Like if you look at Defensive Player of the Year, there's a lot of ones like you won it once and then that's it. You don't win it again.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really hard for them to give somebody that award more than once, unless you're a quarterback and unless you're an MVP. And even then, they still don't give it to players as much as they should. Like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady should have won way more MVPs if you think about it. So just something to consider as we go through like all of these awards. You know what I mean? Like the NFL tends to cater towards more new faces winning these.
Yeah, I think voter fatigue is a real thing. 100%. You saw it last year with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And I think a big reason why he won it was because Lamar had already won it twice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And Lamar should have won it.
Technically, if you go by numbers, it's like, yeah, Lamar had better numbers. To me, I also did believe that Josh Allen should have won it because of like certain accomplishments he had. Like Lamar had the best season stats wise. He had more touchdowns and more yards. But he didn't have a game where he threw, received, and rushed for a touchdown. He didn't have a game where there was a different game that he set some sort of record that was like a very unique, where he had, was it 3-3 or something? Did he run for 3 and throw for 3?
Who? Josh Allen?
Did he do that?
Josh Allen?
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but
there was something else that was like, whatever it is. I think that
he definitely did something that was.
Yeah, I just remember feeling that way, that he had individual performances in individual games impressive than Lamar's, and that's why I thought that. But if you look at just the numbers as a whole, the numbers can tell one story when the eye test tells a different one. All that being said, let's move on to Offensive Player of the Year, and I'll let you go ahead and take this one.
All right, you're probably gonna be pissed at me. So originally, I told you I was gonna pick Nico Collins, which I think he's a fair pick. I was gonna go with him just because I didn't want to pick the obvious and Jamar Chase.
Sure.
And people forget that before that injury last year, Nico was leading the league in almost every wide receiver category.
Yeah.
So I think he's gonna be a beast, but I changed my mind. I'm picking someone else that's probably gonna blow your brains away. But this person fell to me in my fantasy football draft last night, and he was very much the only quarterback I could get. So I'm just speaking it into existence. I'm gonna say that the Offensive Player of the Year will be Caleb Williams. Dude, what you come on. You don't think that's possible, man?
No way, dude. No chance.
I'm going with Caleb Williams.
Not a chance.
Fantasy champion, baby. I'm going with Caleb.
You're really manifesting that, aren't you? Oh,
dude,
my God. I never would have expected you to say that.
But think about it.
Do you genuinely think that, though?
How can you not? I mean, dude, this is a year ago, this is the number one prospect quarterback to arguably ever come out. And he has Ben Johnson and a very improved offensive line. And I'll just say this, last year, as a rookie, he did not have a bad season. It was just outshined a lot by Jaden Daniels. And you
Mhm.
could see even with that offensive line, the talent is there. Like he's not like a Jamarcus Russell bust. Like the talent is there with this guy. And he has the offensive line now. He has the offensive minded coach who, if you see what he did with Jared Goff, I mean, I personally don't believe Jared Goff is that phenomenal. I think most of it was Ben Johnson and all the pieces around Goff that made Goff so great. And a lot of their players on the Lions they still have. So do I think Jared Goff will still be good? Yes, not as good when Ben Johnson was there, but yes, he'll be good. But Caleb has Ben Johnson now, the best offensive guru in the league. Honestly, I mean, I can't think of who's better. I mean, you could make an argument, maybe McVay, maybe Kyle Shanahan, but outside of that, Ben Johnson with the
Well, yeah,
weapons that Caleb
yeah,
has,
yeah.
that team
I mean,
has
I think
weapons.
that, yeah. I mean, they do kind of, I guess. I mean, yeah. You talk about Jared Goff. First of all, I mean, I think Jared Goff is a good quarterback, and I think he benefited from good coaching. But I think the flaw that Caleb Williams has that Jared Goff doesn't have is holding on to the ball too long. I think that
I will give you that. He did
if
hold on to the ball too long his rookie season. I will give you that.
if Caleb Williams can correct that issue, I think there's a chance. Offensive player of the year feels like a lot. I think that I don't know. Yeah, well, Joe Burrow won it last year. No, he didn't. No,
It was
Joe Burrow
Burrow
won
or
comeback player of the year.
you
Sorry.
come back, yeah.
Um,
Jamar
and
Chase won it, I believe.
no, Saquon did.
Oh, I'm an idiot. Yeah, Saquon.
But
Right.
Jamar Chase would. I mean, if it wasn't for Saquon
Yeah, he would
doing
have
what
won
he
it.
did, then Jamar Chase would have won it, which is
Yeah.
crazy that we had two of the most impressive offensive seasons from a skill position ever in the same season.
Yeah.
But MVP is really like the quarterback award, and then I don't see them giving the offensive player of the year award to a quarterback unless it was like that close when it comes to MVP. I feel like they've done it recently where they did give offensive player of the year to a quarterback. Did they?
Yeah, I was gonna. That's the one thing that, like, that's the biggest thing about Caleb actually winning it when I was thinking about it. Like, that's usually a skill positional award.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't. He's
But
on my team,
enough, if he's impressive enough, then he could win it. But then if he's impressive enough to win that, to me, that means he's better than any other quarterback, which means he would win MVP. So you should be picking Caleb Williams for MVP, is what you should do.
Uh, offensive player of the year. Oh no, dude, they give it to quarterbacks all the time.
Do they?
Yeah, Lamar
What's
2019, Mahomes 2018,
so?
Cam Newton 2015,
And
Rodgers
then,
2011.
all right, okay. Well, fuck me then. And those were years that I mean, quarterbacks obviously won MVP that year.
Yeah, they must have just been
Because
the second best quarterback.
well, yeah, 2019, Mahomes and Lamar were super close, and then I think Mahomes won
Mahomes
MVP,
won it.
and Lamar they gave him
Lamar
offensive
got
player of the year.
offensive. Yeah.
And 2019, I'm trying to think in my head of like what other positions were really that great that year. But I feel like it might have just been a year where there wasn't necessarily a running back or wide receiver that was producing at a high enough level to merit a offensive player of the year award. So I think it'll depend. I guess there's a chance for a quarterback to win. It just depends on, people at other positions if they perform. But let me go ahead and give mine. I would like to think it's a little bit more realistic. I believe this
it
guy
definitely is.
Thank you, Flames. I am going to pick Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
Actually, ironically enough, a guy that I have on my fantasy team too. So we're both manifesting the same sort of things, right? We both want our fantasy guys to do good. Bijan was the best running back last year, except for Saquon. If Saquon didn't
Without
run
a doubt.
for 2,000 yards, then Bijan would have been, and if it wasn't for Jamar Chase, like Bijan would have been in that conversation because he had over 1,600 yards last year, which is just insane. Let me just go ahead and fact check myself. But I believe that Saquon is probably not going to perform the way that he did last year.
Yeah, sorry, that's a very good point.
It was not 1,600. It was 1,456. And that's just rushing yards. So I'm sure that he had some receiving yards too to put him probably around that mark for scrimmage yards. I believe that Saquon will have a not as good of a season as he did. He's not going to hit 2K again. So I think that opens the door for someone like Bijan. I don't know if Bijan's going to run for 2K, but if he runs for 1,600 yards,
very good shot at winning it.
If Saquon comes back down to earth and only has 1,400 or 1,500, then I think there's a good chance Bijan can snatch that crown. I also don't think that Jamar Chase is going to have the exact season that he had last year either. I think he will probably regress a little bit. And I'm going to probably, once again, give an incorrect stat, but let's go ahead and just look it up so I don't give wrong information. 1,700 yards Jamar Chase had last year. I was going to say 1,700 yards. So, once again, yardage and stats are not everything, but if someone rushes for 1,600 yards and Saquon has less than that, and then he has more yards than the best receiver, if Jamar dips below that 1,600 mark, I feel like Bijan has a really, really good chance to do something like that. And, I don't know if Atlanta necessarily as a team is going to be that great, but I think that
Depends on Penix.
He probably, so I think that Bijan will benefit in two ways from Michael Penix. Penix will probably have some growing pains and have times where he's not great. And when those times come, they're going to have to lean on Bijan. And Bijan's going to be the focal point of their whole entire offense. When Michael Penix is doing good, I think Bijan will still benefit because he's going to still get the checkdowns and end up in those red zone drives where they're already in scoring range and he'll punch it in, things like that. So I think that Bijan has a great opportunity to have a phenomenal offensive season. He did it last year with Kirk Cousins and Penix for part of the year, and I think he could 100% improve on it this year. So that's that.
I will say I completely agree with you on the Saquon part. I think he's going to regress. I think he's still going to be great, but he's going to regress. I don't see him having the same season again. But I will say it's more likely that Saquon regresses and Jamar doesn't because Saquon is older. Running backs gain more mileage just from volume than wide receivers do, usually. Mm-hmm. And Saquon doesn't have to be amazing for the Eagles to be good. Like, Jamar kind of does. Like,
Yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Burrow, Jamar T, and that's it. That's all. That's what they're gonna have to do that again. So
Mhm.
only, I mean, will Jamar get 1,600? No, maybe not. He might get 14, 1,500. But I just see Saquon regressing more than Jamar this year.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah. I also
But
think,
I like Bijan a lot as that pick too. Like that's very solid.
yeah, appreciate, thanks, dude. Appreciate you. Um, just to real quick touch on the Saquon thing. Saquon has not had 2 healthy seasons in a row
Yep.
in his career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know it. I know it as a Giants fan. I know. He's had injuries his whole career. He finally played a full healthy season. I think we've talked about this before. Like he's bound to I don't want to predict injuries, but I feel like it's more like you said, it's more likely to happen with someone like Saquon than someone like Jamar Chase. And yeah, no, I just agree with what you're saying. Um, Going into my MVP prediction, because it does kind of bounce off of what we're talking about with Jamar Chase, I'm picking Joe Burrow for my MVP. Joe Shiesty. All right. And you might be thinking, Ryan, you literally just said Jamar Chase was going to regress. So why are you picking Joe Burrow as your MVP? Listen, I think Jamar Chase won't have quite as good of a season. He's still going to be a beast, but he will regress just slightly. But the difference this season is that they have a healthy T. Higgins and a paid T. Higgins. Both Jamar and T. Higgins are paid, so they're both happy. They're both healthy. Chase Brown is no longer a sleeper. He's a solidified starter and a workhorse in that offense. So their offense is projected to be one of the highest scoring offenses in the league. And I don't think that necessarily Jamar is going to have to. I know that like Jamar is still going to need to be good for them to be good. Sound fucking so stupid. But I think that T. Higgins being available and hopefully healthy for the whole season will probably take a little bit of that pressure off of Jamar because they didn't have T. Higgins for the whole season last year. So it hurt them. They had to rely on guys like Andre Yoshivas and freaking Trenton Irwin to be scoring touchdowns for them. So they have both of their big, or I should say three, including Chase Brown, their three biggest offensive weapons, other than Joe Burrow, are all healthy, all good contract wise. There's nothing there. They got the Trey Hendrickson deal done, so it might help their defense just enough to still be competitive. And when it comes to the MVP award, and this is probably a good, my concern for maybe a reason why he might not win it is your team still needs to be good. You have to win games to be the MVP. A lot of times it goes to the quarterback on the best team. So if they are falling short and having a similar season to last year and they're not making the playoffs, then it probably hurts Joe Burrow's chances. But I think that the insane weapons they have on offense probably give them a really good chance to win some shootout games. And I think that I don't know. I just think that I think the voter fatigue plays into it where I feel like currently Lamar Jackson has the highest odds to win MVP. I don't think he's going to win it
No, I don't think so. They
because,
weren't gonna give it to him last year. I don't see him
right.
unless he
I think
comes out and has like a historical season.
he's going to have to top what he did last year to be
Even be
MVP.
considered.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure last year was his best year, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's like he didn't win it then. Why is he going to win it now? He's won it twice already. We have that voter fatigue. They just gave it to Josh Allen, and once again, I don't think they're going to want to give it to someone back to back unless he has another insane year. But I think Joe Burrow is primed to be the guy. He's not hobbled at all. he's fully healthy himself as well. Like everything, there are zero complications right now with the Bengals offense. The defense is a different story, but the offense, there are zero question marks. They should not have any problem putting up points on offense. So that's my pick.
Love that pick. Personally, if I voted for the league for MVP, I would have picked Joe Burrow last year. I think Burrow was the best quarterback, passing wise. And I love Burrow, honestly. I do. I think he's phenomenal. He just doesn't have like those rushing explosiveness ability like Josh Allen or Lamar, but he is, honestly, in my opinion, he might be better than them, really. But the only reason why I don't think he's gonna win that MVP is because your team has to be better than 8-9 to finish it, to win it. And I feel like usually your team also has to win the division. And I just don't see him winning the division again, even if he goes out and has that another stellar performance. Because you still have, I still think that's the Ravens division to lose. So unless the Ravens come out and they just have an awful year, I don't see him winning it. So I don't see him winning the MVP. And you also have Pittsburgh now with a decent defense and Aaron Rodgers coming in.
I am worried about Pittsburgh, bro.
True, but with their defense, though, it's still going to be a thorn in their side, I would say. Like that's still going to be a competitive division between those three teams.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I just think
that
the
Browns though.
Oh, you could just throw them aside.
You're forgetting about
fuck.
Shadur.
Who the fuck cares about the Browns? No, yeah, everything is just against Joe Burrow. That's the main thing. Everything is just against him, and I feel bad for the guy, but what can you do?
It feels like if he doesn't win it, he's gonna be the best quarterback to never win it.
Yep.
That's gonna be his legacy, which is just it sucks.
Yeah.
Because I mean they freaking made it to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Like he's that good.
Yeah. So
he just needs some damn help.
It's the only quarterback to be outside of Brady to beat Mahomes in the playoffs. Like,
yeah,
that
he's got it in him, man.
That is more accomplished than anything Lamar and Josh have done, in my opinion. It really is.
Yeah, honestly. Because we every year we talk about, who's going to be in the Super Bowl? Oh, Ravens this, Bills that, and then it never happens because they always flounder in the playoffs. And Joe Burrow's the only one who hasn't done that. I mean, he has done that, but he's also shown in other instances that he can get over that hump. So, it's just disappointing that he's not getting the help on the defensive side of the ball to get things done. But honestly, it might just be a thing where it's like, okay, fuck it. We'll put up 40 points a game. Who cares, man? Do what you got to do, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I think if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be the Bengals.
It will be him. You're right on that.
But honestly, don't sleep on Mahomes. Don't sleep on Mahomes.
I will sleep on him. I'll go into it more next week when we do the record predictions, but I will sleep on Mahomes for now. Let's just say that.
Who did Evan pick?
So for MVP, Evan has Lamar Jackson as his prediction.
Okay. Did he just go chalk all the way?
I guess so.
He just picked the highest, the number one guy.
Yeah, for the most part, because for Offensive Player of the Year, we didn't say this, but he has Justin Jefferson to win that.
Okay. All right.
Which
Yeah, I like.
that's not like the number one guy, but he's still up there, you know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, you want to pick someone that has at least a fighting chance,
A
right?
good chance. Yeah. I respect it.
Wow, man. All right. So we got all our predictions out there. Now all we got to do is wait and see.
Well, I have yet to announce my MVP prediction.
I thought you.
I'm the No, that was I picked
Oh.
Caleb for offensive player of the
Oh.
year.
Sorry, I didn't even. I don't know why I thought that you. Yeah. What
No,
is
you're
your?
good.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Say it. Say it.
You know what I'm gonna
I know
say.
who it is, but yeah. Yeah. Say. Yeah.
My
Say it.
MVP is gonna be Jaden Daniels, baby.
There you go.
Jaden Daniels.
And you think that's
Best
just a case of voter fatigue with the other two guys, and then just being like, oh, he's the rookie. We want to get him some airtime.
Honestly, my dude, that is kind of a big part of it because he like if he wasn't a rookie last year, it's crazy to think this, but he was like probably fourth best to win the MVP.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, he was.
so he was in the mix as a rookie. So if he comes out and just gets a little better, and then it's like I feel like why wouldn't they give it to him? Because they already gave it to Josh and Lamar, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And this dude is so much better as a passer than Lamar was when Lamar won the MVP. So I just see him. He just has to stay healthy. That's his only thing.
Once again, I think. I mean, you just said it. A lot of times, it's the division leader. So I think it's going to come down to, can they topple the Eagles? Can the Commanders?
That's a good point.
Beat the Eagles and sit atop the NFC East? Can they fend off the Giants? Really, it's like it still remains to be seen if they can really do that.
He's gonna fucking torch you guys.
I'm just playing.
No, I know.
But again, with Jaden Daniels, like last year, I mean, you can talk about the Hail Mary. There's the prime time, his coming out show against the Bengals in prime time. There were multiple games where he had clutch drives at the end of the game. His performances in the end of games was super important. So I think beyond, and this is the same thing like I was saying with Josh Allen earlier, is like it's not necessarily just the guy with the most yards, the guy with the most touchdowns. You got to prove that you have a different element to your game that elevates everyone around you. That's why you're the most valuable player. You have to show that you're clutch. You have to have the Hail Mary. You have to have something extra to it. And Jaden Daniels has shown that he has that. So I think he just needs to replicate that this season. And he does have a good shot at winning MVP.
Yeah, I was going to pretty much say the same thing. He has already shown that he has that element that honestly a lot of these other quarterbacks don't have really. I've just like that man, the way that dude, he was about to get rocked so many times last year. And he just, right before he gets rocked, throws the perfect pass every time. And it honestly, a lot of those throws couldn't have been more accurate. And I've never seen, I'm like really like Glizzy gloating this guy now.
You're blazing.
But
yeah.
I've never seen a rookie quarterback that good. And that's like insane for me to say, but like, that's the truth. I've never seen a rookie perform like that. Like nothing bothered him. Nothing. You bring all the pressure in the world, nothing. He has the same rushing ability as Lamar does, except he's a better passer. So I look at him as like Lamar on steroids, honestly.
I don't think he's as good of a runner as Lamar.
No, he's not. he's not as good of a runner as Lamar, but he's pretty close, I would say. Like, he's up there still.
He's got similar speed, I feel like, and
He
he's got
has the
a very
same
similar
rushing
skill set.
ability.
I wouldn't say the same rushing ability.
I would.
He's like a tiny little step below Lamar. Because
Yeah,
I think when
I
it
could
comes
see it, but
when it comes to scrambling and like, there are some moves he put on people, but the highlight plays that Lamar has, and maybe it's just because he's been around, so he has a bigger catalog of highlights. But I mean, just the spin move against the Bengals is the one that's in my head right now, and it's like I don't see Jaden Daniels doing that. You know,
you're right. I've
I
seen those
see
Lamar highlights. He doesn't necessarily have those.
Yeah, and maybe it's going to come, in his career. But I feel like Jaden Daniels is also probably at this point in his career a better passer than Lamar was at the same point in his career. And I think you said that.
Yeah.
So I think, Jaden Daniels is more of a pass first quarterback, and I don't think there's the same criticism that Lamar got early in his career where it's like, oh, he's a running. No.
Well,
like, I don't want to hear that about Lamar, but
Lamar was awful as a passer, though, in his first couple years in the league. He was awful.
Well, yeah. Honestly,
he was very bad.
Yeah, and he improved it greatly, and last year was one of the most accurate quarterbacks, and did he have 0 interceptions for the first however many weeks of the year? It was like 10 weeks or something, and he might have had, I think he had like 2 interceptions by week 8 or 10, and the only interceptions he had were deflections that hit his receiver's hands first and then got deflected to a defender. So, like, that's just to say that Lamar hasn't greatly improved on his accuracy, but I don't think Jaden Daniels has that same issue with accuracy. Like, he was a great thrower of the football last year, and you saw that on some of his deep balls. That's not the same things we're seeing from Lamar. So I think it's a good thing for Jaden Daniels, because he's a quarterback. That's what you're supposed to do, throw the ball. And even Lamar, I remember as early as, I think it was 2023, not last year, the year before, when they played the Chiefs in the playoffs. Or was it no, it might have been they beat the Texans, right? But I think it was the Chiefs. And all they did was they just made Lamar beat them with his arm. And it was like, we're not going to let you run. All you got to do is stop the run, and he couldn't do it.
And he couldn't do it.
He could not do it. So even now, I think Lamar's biggest weakness is if you take away his scrambling ability completely and rely 100% on the throwing, it's going to illuminate some of the weakness. He's definitely a good thrower of the football and a lot better than he was. But I think there's still some of that weakness in his game. And maybe that's why we don't have him picked as the MVP. Me and you don't, but Evan does.
Evan does.
So we'll see how that pans out, because honestly, sometimes you don't need to throw it. You just got to run it, and that's enough. It has been a couple times before for Lamar. So anything else you want to chat about, Tony, before we go ahead and log off here? It's been a nice long episode.
Yeah, great episode. I feel like we had a lot of fucking great conversations. So
I love these type of
league. I love it. Yeah, it's awesome.
I love when we have things more planned out. Last episode definitely felt like we were flying by the seat of our pants. And this one was very much more structured. We have had some pre-planning and stuff. So very, very good stuff, Tony. Appreciate you.
I have one more question for you before we end the night, though.
Yeah.
I want you to do something for me.
Sure.
We're gonna make this into a reel, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna name 5 quarterbacks and you have to rank them 5 through 1. And I'm gonna name them. I'm gonna name all 5 at once, so you know who's on there, and then you rank them. And I'm gonna
Okay.
say that this is very fucking hard for me to do, so I
Okay.
want to see you do it. All
Okay.
right. So
So
you
you
ready
just
for the
you're just
names?
I just have to rank 5 quarterbacks.
Yep. 5 through 1.
Okay, that's easy. 5
I don't
being the
know.
worst.
5 being the worst, so 1 being the best. Yeah.
All right, cool.
This list is not gonna be easy. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So Ryan, rank these 5 quarterbacks: Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts.
Okay. So, I mean, it's already the top 5 quarterbacks in the league, pretty much. Except for Hurts is 5. We'll start there. Hurts is 5. Um, who else did you say? And
Josh,
what is the scenario? Is it just like who I like, or are we given a certain situation, or what's the context? Are you just saying like
no scenario, just who's the best? Like 5 through 1. Who
just the
is the
best
best quarterback
overall?
in the league? So you're putting Jalen Hurts at 5, right?
So Hurts is 5.
Okay, and then you have the 4 AFC quarterbacks left.
Burrow's 4. Josh Allen's 3. Lamar's 2, and Mahomes is 1.
All right.
I'm taking that. I'm gonna take that. I think Mahomes is a good number. Even though Mahomes, say what you will, man. Say what you will.
No, that
I
that was the
still think,
easiest one. I feel like he has to be put
yeah,
at 1.
I think he has to be 1. And then from there, honestly, from there it was pretty easy. I mean, we in this episode even we talked about Joe Burrow being one of the best quarterbacks in the league, but just his situation is just tough. It's tough for me to put him higher when he hasn't necessarily. His situation definitely brings him down a couple notches. I don't know, but yeah,
So
that's
this is the thing, though. This is where it becomes tricky because we both agree that Mahomes put him at 1 all day, every day.
yeah.
But is Mahomes more talented than Lamar? Is Mahomes more talented than Josh Allen? I don't necessarily know.
So, but this is why I was asking the scenario, because more talented doesn't necessarily mean better. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, yeah.
I'm saying Patrick Mahomes is number 1 because of his ability in clutch situations and his ability to extend the play and improvise and his ability to just be poised and like unaffected by pressure and unaffected by the situation of the game. Do I think he's more talented physically than Lamar Jackson? No, definitely not. Lamar is much faster, and well, I won't say he's a better thrower of the ball, because Mahomes is probably
I
a better
think I
thrower
think
of the
at this
ball.
point,
I think
Lamar might be.
when it comes to physical talent,
Right.
I would probably give it to Lamar because
Lamar. Yeah.
he's more athletic. But we've talked about Lamar in a playoff situation. There are ways that you can stop him. And when it gets down to, a clutch situation, there might be drops that are not his fault, but there's other times that he has shown that he's not necessarily the most clutch. Josh Allen, I'll say, is kind of the same way, where, it comes down to the playoffs. And I think you could say that for Joe Burrow in the same way, is that when the playoffs, and even Joe Burrow got to the Super Bowl and failed. So that's why he's down a peg. And then his like I said, his situation too. And then Jalen Hurts is easily on the bottom just because, I mean, part of it's bias, but it's also like he's benefited a lot from the pieces around him. And, you could say that for Mahomes and other players too, but I don't think that Hurts is the same player if he doesn't have Saquon, if he doesn't have AJ Brown, if he doesn't have Devontae, if he doesn't have that defense. Like, and sure, Hurts is a good player and he has good scrambling ability. And sometimes I'm like, God damn it, put the guy in the ground. Like, holy shit. He is very good at scrambling and has a very pretty deep ball too at times. But I don't like him in the situations that I like Patrick Mahomes. I don't know. I don't care if he's Super Bowl MVP. I don't care.
Well, I would have probably said that list the same way as you did. But on it, like big question that comes to mind is we give all these benefit of doubts to Mahomes, but how come we don't give them to Mahomes or Burrow? Like those guys have had more success than Allen and Lamar in the playoffs.
Burrow and Hurts?
And more specifically Hurts. Yeah. I mean, he's shown that he can. I know he has all the pieces around him, but he's shown like same thing as Mahomes that he can do it under pressure. He just went in and beat Mahomes last year. But yet
Yeah,
when we rank these quarterbacks, I feel like the majority of people, and myself included, we still put Lamar and Josh over him.
over Hurts.
Over Hurts, yeah. And Burrow to an extent. Not as big, but Burrow to an extent as well. Because Burrow did make it to the Super Bowl. And Burrow did beat Mahomes in the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Mahomes being a 3-time Super Bowl champ helps.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
of course,
most definitely.
Because Hurts has been there twice. He's had a lot of the same weapons from the first one to the second one, and Saquon being the biggest one that helped them get over that hump for the second one. And honestly, the defense being a huge thing too, because the first time the Chiefs and Eagles were there, it was all offense, complete shootout in the Super Bowl. So I think, maybe if, and I don't even want to speak this into existence, but if Hurts were to go back to the Super Bowl with less help and still win, then I think he would move up the rankings. But until he does that, I don't know. I still put him below Lamar and Josh Allen, also because they run into Mahomes before the Super Bowl. So Mahomes is the guy who can knock off any one of those guys below him. But Lamar and Josh Allen don't get to the Super Bowl because of Mahomes. Jalen Hurts loses in the Super Bowl because of Mahomes. And
but at least he came back and beat them. Lamar
yeah,
came back and lost again.
I don't know.
And then did it, and they lost again.
You're making a lot of good points about Jalen Hurts,
right?
I don't care. I don't like him.
I mean, like I said, I still agree with you. I still think Hurts is number 5 in that list as well. But
it is interesting that you say that, because he is a Super Bowl champ, Super Bowl MVP. He has an accolade that the 3 people above him don't have. And we're still saying that he's not as good as those guys. So it's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
And I understand with the pieces that he has, but like, what's his control over that? Like, you just play with what you got, and that's all you can do, whether you're good or not. I mean, we factor that in, but we can't. We at the same time, we also can't really take that away from him because he just played good. Like we don't know how he would be without those weapons because
Yeah. I mean, he plays in Philly. I think Philly, even
Philly's a
outside of
tough place to play for too.
yeah, because with that fan base too, I feel like just Philly in general, people don't like their players. I guess I mean, not that people don't like Eagles players, but it's like the Bills or the Ravens are like those teams don't have
They don't have them as much pressure. The players
they
at
don't have as
least.
many haters.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles are easier to hate
Yeah.
than the Bills or the Ravens to me. And I know that
No,
I know I'm a Giants
absolutely.
fan, but I feel like other people feel that as well that are not fans of a rival team. You could be a
Absolutely.
Rams fan and you still probably hate the Eagles more than the Bills.
Yeah.
And that's just, I don't know why that is.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just the spotlight. Some people aren't built for it.
Majority of people hate outside of Eagles fan base hate the Eagles, and then inside the Eagles fan base, most of the time they hate the players, unless you go out and win a Super Bowl.
Oh, the fans hate their own players unless they're really
Yeah, yeah, dude. They
a harsh
wanted
place.
they wanted Jalen Hurts out a couple years ago, and Sirianni. They wanted Sirianni fired after last
It was
year.
like I think it was like mid-season last year they thought he was going to get fired.
They wanted him fired. They were chancing
Yeah,
it like after a game.
it's crazy. The switch up is crazy, but I'm sure I would do the same thing. I'm sure I would.
You know what?
Well, it's kind of like
Honestly,
that.
probably.
Yeah, I mean,
Probably would
we're
do the same thing as well.
sports fans. We all like to think that we're different from each other, but we're all the same. We
That's
are.
fucking perfect way to end the show right there.
We're all the same, people. Remember that, okay? As the season approaches, just remember, we're all humans, all right? Take it easy on each other. We're all trying to enjoy the sport that we love. So just take a chill pill, all right? And take it easy. That's from us, Ryan and Anthony at the Touchdown Talk podcast. We hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. We'll be back next week predicting every single game for every single team in the NFL season for 2025 and doing a quick preview before the very first Thursday night football game. So tune in next week. We will see you then. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Bye-bye.
Peace.